Joining us now is Lindsay France. Lindsay, what is your take on this interview? Because we're just kind of perplexed over here why he chose ABC News, why he chose to be quoted but not do an on-camera interview. What are your thoughts on this?
Hey, you guys, I think the pause in your question was very indicative of what a lot of people feel about this situation. Federal prosecutors are on him. There's no question the Mueller investigation is closely tied to this. We all know this. I'd like to know who his crisis management PR firm is. I bet they're taking a pretty penny and probably doing a fairly good job. A lot of us look at this through the lens of what the media bias and aim and money making and ratings are in it for them. I think that Michael Cohen is looking around and acknowledging the fact that the FBI doesn't really care if it walks on your life and walks away with nary a "we're sorry" over your shoulder if you don't go to jail. They will ruin your life. We've heard that, and you've talked about it on your programs extensively, about the other people caught up in this investigation whose homes, reputations, their children at school are under threat by their peers. And the story goes on. I think this is a good story about crisis management. It may be used in classrooms around the country and universities about how to handle this. This is what I think it was. I think he's terrified. I don't blame him for being terrified, but this just shows a terrifying walking back. He said, and I'm sure you heard this, I shook their hands. I thanked them for their service as if they're first responders. It's just dodge.
I want to go to that remark that you just made, Lindsay, not to interrupt, but during that interview, as you mentioned, Cohen was asked about President Trump's comments and the immediate aftermath of the FBI raid at Cohen's home and apartment. Trump called the raid an attack on our country, but Cohen says he disagrees and told ABC News, "I don't agree with those who demonize or vilify the FBI. I respect the FBI as an institution as well as their agents." Again, is this just a PR move on his part?
It would lead you to believe that. We also have to remember that he did say, number one is his family and the country. Okay, most of us would understand that. But also, remember, he's backpedaling. He's clearly scared about the implications because this kind of dirt the FBI can create doesn't go away. You can't just rebuild your life. And so the patriotism, okay, I understand that. But trusting the government blindly, we've seen time and again. The paper trails leading back to the fact that they're willing to ruin lives. I think this was poorly done, and I think it was PR. And to sympathize with the man, I do think he's terrified, and that part I understand.
Lindsay, I agree with you, but doesn't this indicate something more troubling, that he's so terrified of this FBI, this DOJ that's weaponized against the Trump administration, that now he's going to basically beg them to be fair by saying nice things about them. This flies in the face of what our system is about, what due process is about. It shouldn't matter if he curses out the FBI, the DOJ. They should still give him the same fair investigation, prosecution, and due process. I don't like this. This has chilling implications for our criminal justice system, does it not?
I completely agree. And I think this is also a huge indication, to go along with your point, of the administrative state taking over our legislative leaders and the voters. We've seen this time and again. Do you know how many voters are scared away from the polls every time they know that the administrative state in this country, which I believe in, is happening, is undermining the will of the people who are going to those polls to fight for proper representation in this country? And I exactly agree with you. It's just terrifying.